I'm going to be joined today by Sam Light. Hey, welcome to Elite OT. My name is Bill James. I'm going to be joined today by Sam Light. I'm a collegiate basketball player, Division II, Division III, and professional player over in Spain. So, Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to see you, man. It's been a little bit. Too.
Been a while.
Seriously. I see the quarantine's getting to you like it's getting to me.
Everybody, yeah. Got my hair going crazy.
Let me see that again. That flow. So today, me and Sam are just going to talk a little bit about his basketball journey. And we're going to try to help some of the younger generation out with just stuff that we've been through and how you can avoid or grind through some issues that we had to grind through. So hopefully we can make your experience a little bit better information that we share today with you guys. So Sam, you want to introduce yourself? Tell them a little bit about yourself, where you played.
Yeah, I'm Sam Light. I played at Northern Lebanon High School. I played with Isaac Ray, who was on this earlier. Then I went from there. I went to Millersville for 1 year, and then I transferred and went to Lebanon Valley. And then I finished my 3 years at Lebanon Valley, graduated with a bachelor's in science and business administration, and then went over to Spain in Vitoria for like 6 months.
And that's first division, right?
Second
division, okay. So I always get confused. High-level basketball, though. So
yeah, it was basketball.
Well, so I guess we'll start off high school days. Tell me a little bit about yourself in high school. What kind of player were you? I personally know you, so I know, but explain to the people your role in high school and what you did.
Yeah, in high school I was our point guard, but I was mainly like to score the ball. I had pretty deep range. I could get to the basket. I was probably like a two guard playing the one more so in high school, which probably was a detriment to my recruiting process. But yeah, I think I was a leader early on, probably like sophomore, junior year, senior year. And high school is where I kind of learned how to work really hard because I came in as a freshman and I sat the bench for JV, and I was pretty upset about it. So then I worked extremely hard, getting extra shots up and all that other stuff. And by the end of that season, I was getting varsity minutes the last like 4 or 5 games. And then the next year I just came in. After a summer of working, I was averaging 20, 21 a game as a sophomore. So that's kind of like what set this tone for my high school career. And then after that, you know, we went from an average team my freshman year to we had a pretty solid team each year.
That's pretty awesome. So your route was sort of, like you said, freshman year, you sat the bench for JV. What was your motivation? Did you always like basketball, or was it just something like, you know, I feel like I need to be better? So what was your motivation to get better?
Honestly, I was a football player. I was pretty good at football. That was probably like my first love, actually. But I had a coach named Gary Bouchette, and he was an awesome man of character, and he kind of made you want to work hard for, I'd say, just yourself. He didn't really he didn't force us to go to the gym or anything, but the way he carried himself and the character that he had as a coach and the talks that he would have with us, I remember he told me, if you want to be great at something, you got to spend more than just a season on it. So I was already naturally kind of good at football because I was an athlete, and I was pretty good at running back and corner. So I was like kind of tired of lifting weights. So basketball was just something I could go to a hoop whenever I wanted and however much I wanted to get better depending on me. So I just kind of took a ball with me wherever I went or whenever I had an opportunity to play. I remember I used to wear shorts underneath my jeans in case I had, a hoop. I used to just take a ball with me everywhere and just get shots up. I had 2 friends, Damon Long and Richard Awagu, as well as Isaac Ray. We used to just hoop everywhere.
Like not just getting it in.
Yeah, after school for hours and then get up shots at our local park till the nets were ripped down. And, yeah. We used to play everywhere.
So that's pretty awesome. So you said you were playing the one, but naturally you felt like a two.
I think that I could have been a point guard, but because I played high school where I played high school, because they needed me to score so much, I was so more focused on scoring that not that I couldn't pass, but I wasn't necessarily like if I was coming down a fast break and you didn't step up, I was pulling for three, or I was stepping into like a mid-range jumper where I was attacking the basket. I wasn't really like a set up the offense kind of player. Kind of like our offense in high school was also a lot of just 4 out, 1 under, and then attack. So we didn't really have like a designated point guard kind of. So I think that made me more of like a score first mentality type of person.
Okay. And so your recruiting process, tell me a little bit about that. So a little bit about, you ended up going to Millersville. How did you get hooked up with them? What was that process like for you, and how did you come across that decision the first time?
Well, I actually committed to Wilkes University, and Coach Jerry Rickroad, he was the coach there, and I committed there like I think it was the fall before my senior year.
Yeah.
He ended up getting fired, or he was forced to resign for some reason. I think it had something to do personally with family issues or something. So then I decommitted from there and then played my senior year out, and I had Mansfield. I narrowed my choices down to Mansfield, Millersville, Stevenson, and I think that was it. I don't think Lebanon Valley even made the final cut. So I decided between Millersville and Stevenson University, which is in Maryland. And I ended up just going to Millersville because I thought I would have a starting opportunity there, and I thought that I was way better than a lot of the guys that were on the team. So I didn't think that the level really didn't have anything to do with it. I just wanted to go to a spot where I was like most comfortable and thought I could play, whether or not I did play. But I was going to the place where I thought I could play the most, and it was also the cheaper school, which is a factor a lot of times for a lot of people.
Okay, so you make that decision. Tell me what your thoughts were going from high school to college. What did you expect when you got there? What was it like? And what was the biggest difference that you saw between playing high school and playing in college?
I would say the biggest difference between high school and college for me, honestly, is just the pace and the size of person. I mean, I played in the Lancaster Lebanon League, and as you know, it's a lot smaller. It's not really the best basketball in Central PA, but like compared to like the Mid-Penn and others. But yeah, I think it took me like 4 or 5 games to get used to it. I was also coming off the bench in the beginning of the season for limited minutes because there was a D1 shooting guard in front of me, so I didn't come in as a starting point guard like I thought I was. They actually brought in a transfer NAIA Division I point guard, and then I was more off the bench behind him and another shooting guard from Mount St. Mary's named Calvin Parker, who I believe scored 1,000 points there. But after they became ineligible at the first semester is when I came in. I think I started getting like 25 minutes a game, and that's when I was able to figure out the pace of the game, figure out tricks like how to be crafty because I wasn't very athletic. So pump faking, jumping into guys, going off 2 feet strong to the basket, knowing when to dish, knowing when the help guy came across. So I think compared to high school is more if you're an athlete and you can handle the ball, you can kind of get by. But in college, you got to learn like tricks. You got to know how to get to the line. You got to know when the guy comes off the screen. Is he hedging really hard where you have to make like those kind of things? If a guy hedged hard in high school, you can just blow past him kind of, or I don't know. It's just the little nuances of the game and the pace of the game that are really what are going to decide. And it's going to be whether you pick up on them or you don't. Because I've seen a lot of guys that they're great in high school, but when they get to college, they just play the same game. They don't really focus in on certain things, and then their game doesn't take that next step that it's supposed to do.
And why do you think that is? Do you think it's a lack of one or a lack of focus? What do you think that?
A number of things. From some people, I think it's distractions. I think college comes with a lot of distractions. There's parties, there's girls, there's a whole bunch of different things that I've even myself fallen into those pitfalls. You know, every now and then when you should be getting your shots up or when you want to work out, there's oh, you should just come over and do this, or you should There's also school. It's also a classroom environment where you have a lot of work. So you got to be invested in yourself and how great you want to be in order to know where you want to get to. It's not just going to happen, and you can't just go in there lackadaisical and think that the same routine you had in high school is going to carry over into college, because it's not.
Well said and well spoken. Did you personally fall into any of those traps or roadblocks, and how did you fight your way out of that? I know you said the first semester you really weren't playing that much. What was your mindset when you got there and 2 transfers came in? So it sort of changed a little. Did it change how you thought?
Yeah. When I went there, I was recruited by the assistant coach, Coach Pitts. Great guy, loved him. And then the head coach, Coach Thompson, who's another awesome guy. I liked playing for him a lot. He didn't really recruit me, so I was kind of, I guess, I don't want to say it like this, but like the token white guy. I felt like, because I felt like the assistant coach recruited me because he liked me, but the head coach got his guys. So I just remember, I was pissed, and I just went in the gym. I went in the gym a lot. Like I would pay my roommate in meal swipes to rebound for me. And I remember going to a pickup game. I don't know if anybody remembers Yik Yak, but it's like that social media. Everybody can talk and nobody knows who's saying it. It's like Twitter, but so we went into the thing. Nobody believed I was on the team, and so I went in there and I didn't get picked up. They played like 5-on-5 with the team, and then the guys that are just in the rec, they just come and play. And I didn't get picked up on any of the actual basketball team rec teams, so I just picked up. Yeah, because they didn't think I was on the team. They thought I was trying out. They didn't think I had a scholarship because I had never met them. So I just picked up 5 random guys, and we ran the entire court. And it was like all over Yik Yak that some random white kid was hitting threes from like – I hit like in a ridiculous amount of threes or whatever. And it got back to the coach. Some janitor went to our coach and was like, I can't believe what so-and-so this kid did in this rec gym at the late night. Like everybody was up on the track and they stopped running and they started watching. And that was probably one of my best, like you ever play pickup and you're like on fire. And yeah, that was like my best. Like we won like 9-10 games in a row against the actual team. And we just had like rec room scrubs on my team. Like, and after that, the coach was like, you're going to have an opportunity, but you're not going to start. And then that's when I started to play more is when I really started to – because I didn't shoot the ball well when I was first semester. After second semester started, I was shooting like 45% from the field, 43 from 3, and I was finally in like a groove kind of. But I just kept – I did fall into some of the pitfalls, though, definitely of like, not being able to work out once success started to come, because either I was, caught up in going to a party because I was actually on the team now. So now I'm part of like the crowd, and I did go to parties. I did, kind of fall into those pitfalls and stuff. And that's part of learning and experiencing things and growing and learning from your mistakes. But I definitely would say though that I did put in the work. So I didn't, even though I did fall into some of those, it wasn't a pitfall that I stayed in very long, I would say.
Awesome. So now you play out that season. Didn't you win? I believe you won an award at the end of the year. Was it?
Oh, I won Black Student Union Athlete of the Year.
See, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you get that, and now you're going into the summer, and you end up going to Lebanon Valley College. What made you make that decision? And talk to me a little bit about that process.
Yeah, I heard some things happening. I had some personal things going on that I wanted to leave Millersville, and then I also had like some rumblings about the coach leaving, so I decided to leave. I had a scholarship to Gannon, full ride, and I had some other partials that I could have went to Division II wise, and then I had Stevenson that wanted me again. I would have had a really good relationship with their coach, Coach Stewart, and then
remember him.
Yeah, Coach Stewart, yeah. And then Lebanon Valley coach, Mr. Brad McAllister, he was the one that gave me the information on how – he gave my dad, not me, the information on how to transfer and how to go about it. And all he asked in return was the first visit. He wanted me to be the first visit. So And me and him kind of had like a little bit of beef because he told me if I went Division II, I wouldn't have a career there. But he admitted to me that he was ended up being wrong, that I could have had a career in Division II. So that was like our thing that we had to get out of the way. But I ended up picking his school because, one, they have a very storied like background with, they have, VCU, both head coach and assistant coach are LVC grads. They won championships. They won a national championship. They had Andy Panko, who was the national player of the year. And I noticed that they hadn't won in like a long time. And a lot of my the coaches that I talked to from like other schools would always tell me, don't go to Lebanon Valley. They can't recruit kids because they don't have the best packages. Nobody's going to come there to help you out. You're not going to win. And all I kept hearing was, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. And then I was like, you know what? I don't really feel like moving all my stuff to Gannon, which is 6 hours away. And my grandma wasn't doing well at the time, and my parents were home here. And I think I was just like, you know what? I just want to stay home. So I ended up going to Lebanon Valley, which was super unpopular kind of because of the stigma of transferring down the division, which I think is like, I just want to say that it's like not true. Like, I played just as good as basketball down a division as I did up a division. The difference is maybe the size of the bigs, but I would say the skill-wise, Division III is better than Division II. It's just the athletes in Division II that are they're superior. But I remember playing Messiah when we were at Millersville. We ended up finishing like 4th, I think, in the PSAC that year, and we beat them by like 8 points or 9 points, something along those lines. And they beat us for part of the scrimmage. You know what I mean? So I don't think it hurt me in any way. I think it was a good thing.
So, and I like how you said that. I say that to a lot of the kids that I train is, I know that your parents tell you D1, 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 or D2, but it doesn't always have to be that way. A lot of great players come from the Division III level because I think you learn the game there. Because like you said, there's more skill. Division II, you have like your 6'8", 6'9", athletic, super athletic people, and they're skilled there too. Don't get me wrong, but playing Division III is sort of
it's different, and it's where when I was in LVC, I played different than I did at Millersville. But I think like when you pit a Division II, now obviously the top Division IIs versus the regular Division IIIs, they'll probably beat them pretty handily. But the top Division IIIs versus top Division IIs, I think it's two completely different styles and two different types of athletes usually. But I think good basketball all the way around. When you get into those, even NAIA, a lot of kids don't know, but we played some NAIA teams that were solid teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
just where you're looking and where you're going. But yeah, division doesn't matter. It's all about do you like the coach? Are you going to be cool with the kids on the team? Have you met any of them? And do you like the academic part of it? If you don't like the school without basketball, then if basketball starts going bad, then you're not going to enjoy yourself, and you might have the chance to not finish school, and that's not what you want. You want to think about yourself going there without basketball.
Agreed. So now we get to LVC. Tell me about how the team accepted you in. What were your first days like that? Did a lot of people know you?
I don't think they liked me very much.
All right, we'll talk about that. That's a common thing. Sometimes people just think, oh, this kid's coming down here to just do this or do that. Tell me how you gained their trust or respect and how that ended up on.
Yeah, I mean, I came into the pickup and stuff, and I don't think there was one kid named Zach Mrozik, other than the freshmen, because the freshmen were new like me. But me and him went at it, and he's one of my best friends today. But me and him, I knew he didn't like me because he didn't want to lose any minutes to me. And then there was some other guys that went pretty hard at me, but for the most part, it was just trying to get to know me and the way I play, I guess. But I kind of, from going Division II, and I'll admit it, from going Division II, Division III, even though I averaged, I think, 19 points a game and shot over 40% from the field and from three, I definitely didn't work out as hard. I guess there was like that year of like, oh, I can take time off and I can relax. I don't have to work as hard, kind of. So that year actually is my most disappointing year, I think, was my sophomore year, because I definitely slacked in the working out and getting better part of it, because I thought I could just I thought I would just come there and I would just average whatever I average, and because they had a guy Andy Orr there who was All-American, he was Player of the Year in the conference as a sophomore. So I thought, oh, me and him are just going to kill it. We're just going to win, and then we're going to be done. So when we ended up losing the first round to Arcadia that year, that was when I was like, all right, I'm about to crank it up tenfold. I got a job as a landscaper, and every day, my roommate could even attest that every day I would go, we'd landscape from like 8 to like 6. And then when we get home at 6:30, I would go to the gym to like 9. And just me and my assistant coach, Coach Cabrera, we would be in there working out ridiculous amounts of time. Like, I'd be drenched in sweat. I don't even know how I got through that summer, but I came in there. I was so upset at myself for like kind of taking my foot off the gas, I guess, kind of. And that's where I talk about those pitfalls of like, you know, in life you're going to fail and struggle in certain things. And are you going to let those get you down? I think partying and kind of being just social was more important than like the actual sport. And I had to get back. I had to struggle through that season to kind of get back to like what I knew.
So was that the hardest season for you personally?
I think it was just because, you know, I think it was the hardest season for me because I was still doing really good. Like, I almost averaged 20 points. I was like 19.1 points a game. I don't remember the percentages, but I was like almost 50-40. And I thought I was, you know, playing really well. But then when I really looked at myself and like where I was at with even handling the ball was sloppy a lot of the times. I was playing the 1 at that time. I had a lot of turnover. My assist-turnover ratio was horrible. I had like way more turnovers than assists. It was just bad. It was just poor in the nuances of the game aspect, like I talked about before. I didn't pay attention to any details. I was just out there trying to – I would say I played like I did in high school. I didn't play like I did at Milledgeville. I just went out there and thought, I'm just going to get by. I'm just going to play however I want, yada, yada, yada. And, yeah, we had an up-and-down season, and it was – I blame myself mainly because I was the new guy. Granted, we had a better record than – you know, the last 12 years or 10 years or whatever, but it didn't really matter because it wasn't that we were that good of a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I got you. Now, was that something like where someone told you like you could do better, or was that something where you looked yourself in the mirror and was just like,
yeah, you know, it wasn't anybody that told, because everybody else thought I was playing good, except for honestly my coach Cabrera. Everybody else was like, oh yeah, like you're whatever. Because I think I had like a 39-point game that season or something, and everybody was all. But in my head, I'm like, because it was like late in the season, we were already like a 4th seed in the conference or something. So yeah, after that season, I was just like, no, this isn't how it's gonna happen. So I got to work that next year.
So playing at home locally now, how was that? Did you get good feedback from the community? Bad? How do you feel like how that aspect was? Was it nice to play close to home?
Yeah, it was nice in like the aspect of like family and friends and my parents' friends and stuff, and everybody from like Northern Lebanon being able to come see me. I mean, Milledgeville was kind of local, but not as local. But yeah, like in terms of like my peers, I think a lot of people thought that I just wasn't that good because I transferred down a level. So that summer, I definitely had to cook some people to make sure that they knew what was good. But yeah, I mean, being home was nice because, you know, you get to go home for dinner, you get to go. I actually lived at LVC, but it was nice to just be home in terms of like you don't have to drive very far to go see your family or anything.
And the area pretty decent. Just feel a little bit comfortable.
LVC used to be a big time girls basketball school. Like when I first got there, my sophomore year, they had way more people there for the girls team. Like I'm talking probably hundreds of people there for girls, and then they would leave for our game. And by the time we left, that was not the case.
I like it. So now we're getting into it. So you had a disappointing year by your standards. You're coming in, you worked super hard that next summer. What was the difference? What was the difference? Do you believe the difference was in your game?
I would say part of it has to be due to McAllister. Brad McAllister he moved me to the 2 because we had just gotten another point guard, and he thought me bringing up the ball against pressure all the time was tiring me out because I always had the ball. I was a very high usage point guard, so he moved me off the ball. And then that year that year was one of my. I think I averaged like 22 a game, and I was shooting like 45 from the field, and I think it was 46 from the field and 45 from three. So I had like one of my better years. I thought I was going to be an All-American almost that year. We ended up losing right in the semifinals of the conference, but I was just more focused. Every game was like I was more hungry. That was my first. I almost had 50 that year. I had 46 up at Albright. We were more complete as a team, but I think we finished with a similar record. But I think our conference was a lot better, and I think that we were a lot more dialed in as a team. Like we had our goal of winning the MAC championship more dialed in. We were more sure that year that we were going to win. We ended up not winning, but personally, like as for my personal season, I think that was my second best season.
So now we're going to get to the last season, which you had a pretty successful last year there. And I think it was a pretty great year for LVC as well.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that year and what clicked. Something had to click together, and how did you get there?
I think that we finally, because my class had 8 guys or 7 guys in it, I think. And by that time, we actually went on like a 5-game skid in the middle of that season, our senior year. But we started out pretty good. I think we were like 5-1 or something. Then we lost a game. We were doing well. And then we had like a 5-game skid. And we had like this giant meeting or whatever. And we went over, I think it was against Arcadia where we lost, like where we shouldn't have. And we just had this big meeting. Everybody's goal was to win the MAC championship. And we ended up playing Lycoming in the semifinals because I think we were second seed. I think we were second or third, one of those two. So we played whatever team won the playing game. And then we played Lycoming. We ended up winning in double overtime, and we got to the MAC championship. And then I had probably not my highest scoring game, probably my best game of my career. I had 35 points in the MAC championship game, and my buddy Ricky Bug hit the game winner, and we walked off and we won. It didn't even seem. It was
Real?
like it was like one of those things where like you come in and it's like a movie, and then like I don't know, it was crazy. It was away too, so like there was like 4,000 people at Arcadia or Albright, and we had this small little like section of people that were like cheering. I don't know. It was crazy. The fact that we won with a game winner was even better, but yeah, that was, and then we went to NCAAs. We didn't really I don't know if we were as focused, as bad as that is to say, because we felt like we attained our goal, as bad as that sounds, because, you always want to win more, but I think that was just like the icing on the cake, because really we just wanted to win the MAC championship. I think that was the first one we had since 1995. So yeah, that was what wrapped up our whole, like at least my class's like years there.
That's pretty awesome. I like that because your journey is one of growth. I feel your skill and your game has always been elite, but just like what you had to go through and fighting, sort of the stuff that comes natural, especially going to college. Like you said, it's a lot of people don't understand. Like once you get there, there's parties, there's new people that you've never met. Now you're meshing. And as a lot of people say, I'm never going to go to a party. I'm not going to be the type to go to a party.
Oh, yeah.
It's really hard.
No, it is. And it's not so much you want to get down on yourself when you mess up, but it's more like how you react to it or how you bounce back and what you learn. Because if you keep making the same mistakes over again, which I've been doing for a while, even still today I make the same, but eventually you want to get over those, where you want to find a way to learn from them, because that's the most important thing about an experience, is learning from it in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree. So now that you've been through the process of choosing a college, since you went to 2, what would you tell a high school player that's looking at colleges and trying to pick out where they want to go? What do you tell them? How would you tell them to look for a college, what to prepare, and how to prepare?
Preparing, I would just say there's no shortcut for hard work. So like, obviously you want to seek out guys that have been there, seek better runs. You don't just want to play pickup. That was a hard thing for me, is not playing pickup like with just guys that don't really play. You want to go whether you got to drive an hour. I know I've driven an hour plenty of times to just play 5-on-5. I would say that's important. Working out is important. I was never a big workout guy. I just wanted to get shots up and play 5-on-5 and get a lift in and run. I think working out is important, but I think 5-on-5 is probably competitive. 5-on-5 with high level guys is your best bet against transitioning from high school to grown men in college. But in terms of like, I'm sorry, I forget the other part of your question.
How would you tell them to choose a college, like pick out a college?
Oh yeah, choosing a college. I would say if you're looking at colleges, you want to take notice to which coaches are contacting you the most. Because I know a lot of guys where they had a bunch of schools. I had like over probably 60-some Division III schools call my house. And, some of those coaches, like Jerry Rickroad, I committed to Wilkes because he called me every day. He wrote me a letter that was like beautiful, and it made my mom cry. And I noticed that he cared about me a lot, and I didn't really care what division it was. I just knew I'm going to go to this school because I like this guy. And I think if you go to the school where you're wanted and where they're consistently contacting you, which means that they see something in you. If you're going to a school where you think, Bucknell sent me a letter in the mail and they think they'll give me a half scholarship, but you don't ever hear from them and their assistant's not hitting you up every 4 days or 3 days or every week even, then odds are you're not very high on their depth chart, and you're probably going to go there and you're going to be sorely mistaken that you might. There is the guys that go to school where they're not really wanted and they pan out great because they worked extra hard and they had, some things break the right way and then they had a great career. But 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. So you're going to go somewhere where you're wanted and you're like, they're showing you that they're interested in your skill set and to have you on their team. Because otherwise you might be in another situation where you have to transfer. Transferring is not fun, honestly, because people think about transferring is they're like, oh, I'm going to go. You make a lot of friends in that first year that you're not going to – I'm still friends with some of the guys from Millersville today, and transferring sucked because – it was good. It worked out in the end. I don't regret it, but it sucked because you're going to leave a whole lot of friends that you made that year that you might not ever see again.
Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, man, like that year, and especially for most kids, that's the first time you're away from your family.
And, you make friends that year that's like you're not – like I have a couple friends from our team that I'm still really, really close with. And, I wish I didn't transfer because I wish we could have had, they were older than me, so I would have only had 2 years with them. But it was a great friendship that we had. But I had to transfer for my reasons. So I would say as long as you're going to a place that they care about you, just make sure that's your top priority in choosing a school, not really division and if money is an issue, that's obviously a reason, but I don't think money should be your main reason.
Yep. Find somewhere that you like to play and somewhere where
you'll always be able to make the money back or pay it back within reason.
Mm-hmm. So then after college, talk to me about the process of being able to go and play overseas and how that process was. I know that process is a little difficult for everybody, especially coming from a small school.
Yeah. I actually had like I said, Andy Panko went to LVC, and he helped me go overseas after I was done. After I was done, I wasn't actually thinking about playing at all. He messaged me and was like he had an opportunity for me. I worked at that all summer. I was stressed because I ended up not taking a job in my career field because I didn't want to leave a company hanging. So I was working, 45 hours a week mowing lawns for this for what was it called? I forget. It was like a retirement home, mowing lawn crew or whatever. And then I would go work out for 2.5 hours after every day. And it was a lot. But once I went overseas and signed the contract and the deal, it's different because you think about you're in college and you're away, but this time you're like in a whole other country and you don't speak the language and you don't, your coaches kind of speak the language, but they don't really know all of it. And you might say something to them and they take a totally opposite way. I don't know. It's a lot of different than playing in America, but it's also a great experience. Like it's also you get to dive into a whole nother culture other than your own, and you get to be kind of on your own in the sense of literal, like more of a literal sense.
Mhm.
So if you're in the United States and you're in California and you're from PA, like your parents can still fly there. If your parents don't have a visa, they're not coming to get you. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? If they don't have their passport, like nobody can come get you, and you're not going home unless they fly you home. So,
And how, like, a lot of people think of all the positives that happen there, but a lot of times you're isolated. Like, you're by yourself because you're a new guy. You just got over there. You don't speak the language. There's usually overseas, there's only two Americans.
yep.
Or two Americans. Was that a struggle for you to sort of connect with your teammates when you first got over there?
Honestly, no, because my team was like kind of special. We were the lowest budget in Division II, and because we were lowest budget, all of our team was rookies except for two guys. So everybody was here. Yeah, we were like a special team. And my other American teammate was Junior Robinson, who he played on the Atlanta Hawks. He played at Mount St. Mary's, and he was an incredible basketball player. He's still playing over there, I think, and he was probably one of the quickest basketball players I've ever had to guard in my entire life. But he taught me a lot of things, and we kind of went through it together. And I had another roommate, Nadim Jedovic. I don't know if you know the guy that everybody says looks like that soccer player that plays in the EuroLeague. You know what I'm talking about?
Not off the top of my head.
I think it's Zlatan. They say that guy that plays in the EuroLeague. The guy that looks like Zlatan is Nadim's brother. So that was my roommate. So it was pretty cool. And he wasn't cool, but he played against like Luka Doncic when they were younger, I guess. I don't know. It was, but he wasn't a rookie because though he was younger than me, he had been playing pro for I think like 5 years. So he was my other roommate. Yeah. So over there, they don't go to college; they go pro right at 16. So
how was the game different from college to professional level? What was the biggest thing you had to adjust to?
The game over there is different because we were we were all rookies, but a lot of us were Americans. So my one teammate played at San Diego State, but he was Italian, but his mom and dad were Italian, so he got an Italian passport. My other teammate, Matthew Kamba, he was from the Congo, but his parents are from the Congo. He was really I think he was from Canada. My other teammate was Canadian, and he was from Canada, but we had two Canadians, but one was Congo and one was Canada. And then, So we were all kind of like Americans. You know what I'm saying? Like we all played the American game.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of like one-on-one going at people, and we lost a lot of games because the other team just didn't care. They didn't care if they were their best player. If they were the best player and they were averaging like 16 a game and they were only getting 4 points, they didn't care. They made the right play every time. It was like when you're in 10th grade and you go to the Y and you play in the men's league and you think that those guys aren't good, but they beat you all the time. So like when I was over there, it felt like when I was dribbling up the court, I could have shicked my guy every time and just gotten a bucket. But that's where they get you because you're not going to get a bucket every time. Because when they help, they know all their rotations because those teams have been playing together for however many years. So like in America, usually when you drive and you dish off to the big, it's usually that guy in the corner that's supposed to come down off the big and help. But we never do it because we're just lazy. I don't know. It's just the way the game is over here. But over there, their rotations, everybody goes exactly where they're supposed to go. So in order to beat that, you need to know, you know what I mean? And the other part of it was the coaching over there is 10 times, I'd say, more strict. For example, if we got our playbook and I was closing out on the guy in the wing, I need to know what percentage he shoots going one dribble pull up right and one dribble pull up left. If I force him to right, one dribble pull up right, and he shoots 41% and he knocks it down, instead of where he shoots 31% left, my coach is yanking me out because he's pissed because I don't know the scouting report.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
and that's like, you might think that that's like ridiculous. Who knows that? But like, I guarantee you in games, LeBron James and all those guys know that stuff. So like the difference in the gameplay is, they're a lot smarter. They don't care who scores. And then winning is the ultimate goal. Whereas in America, I think one-on-one, kind of getting your own is kind of more accepted. Obviously winning, Americans want to win, but you want to play well, obviously. And then I think the other part of it is like just playing professionally as opposed to in college is way different. Like I'd wake up at 8:30. We have practice at 9 to 11:30. Then we have the lady that cooks our food. We'd go in, we'd eat, we get like an hour rest. We go lift weights, come back, get like an hour rest, go for our second practice, come back, get an hour rest, and then we have film. So it's like every day. The only day we had off was Sunday. So it's kind of like I don't want to say it questions your love, but it makes you think like, do you really want to do this? Because you're not making millions of dollars to do this. Mm-hmm. You're not like school basketball. I'm telling you, man, like all the workouts and stuff that I did at Millersville and LVC and all, like it doesn't compare. Like when you're a pro, they expect you to work out every day over there. They work harder than Americans do at basketball. Mm-hmm. I guarantee the NBA players, they probably have like a 3-hour practice. Maybe in preseason and stuff they do more, but you're working like an 8.5 hour, 9-hour shift of basketball.
Really making in the NBA and stuff like that. A lot of people think, oh, you're playing overseas, you're about to make.
Yeah, it's a little more. You get more compensated. Like over there, I think I was making like $600 a month. My agent's taking 10%. So, yeah, I mean, that's just working your way up. Nobody goes over there as a rookie and is making, unless you're big time Division I, like an Isaiah Briscoe or somebody that went over there to try and get to the NBA. You're not making, and even they're probably only making like, not only, but $5,000 a month maybe. That's what they're making.
Yeah, so, and a lot of people think like you're gonna make, like, oh, he's going overseas, he's gonna make $12,000. It doesn't work like that. And
I think my whole first contract was like $6,000.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to spend any of it. I got food, I got 2 meals a day, I had a car, and I had a house to live in. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to pay for internet. I didn't have to pay for anything. They paid for everything, and they gave me money. But like, if you're gonna go over there and you want to make big bucks, you're gonna have like 3 or 4 years of like struggling for a little bit.
So then now I want to talk something that's very interesting to me is you come back. I'm not too sure if you knew what you wanted to do when you came back, but now you started making music, mm-hmm. And you're starting to branch out a little bit more. Tell me about that. How did you get into music, man? I enjoy it. I want to know how.
Yeah. No, I did it. I took guitar lessons when I was younger, kind of stopped because of basketball, and like I just like sports better. But then when I was a freshman in college, I kind of like was messing around, in like garage band and stuff, and like writing like poetry and kind of like, I was really into like hip hop and stuff. So I think when I came back, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I kind of was just a lot of times coming home from work and just kind of bored. I didn't really know because. Dude, basketball was everything to me. It was my whole life, kind of. And so music is just like a hobby that I have. It's creative. It lets me be – the way I played basketball was a creative type of way. So I think that in that same breath, when I just go home and I just go to my friends and make a song or even just messing around and stuff, I don't even like want to show people. It's a way to let out creative juices, whereas at work I don't really get a chance to be creative. But basketball is more like when I play basketball, I'm always being creative. I always do a move that someone's like, what did he just do? Or why did he just do that? Even if it messes up, it's kind of the same as music. You're not going to make a song that anybody likes. But if you like it or it got out the emotion that you were struggling to deal with or, work out in your own mind, it's an easy way for you to kind of just put it out there.
So it's like an outlet.
Yeah, it's a creative outlet, and like, I'm a man of faith, so I think that having outlets and stuff, is a good thing, and trying to channel because idle hands are not where you want to be at. When you have idle hands and idle time, and you're not in the Word or you're not trying to seek God, you get yourself in trouble, and that's where the pitfalls come into time. So. Even making a song where I'm praising God, or even making a song where I'm really ticked and I just want to get it out, you know what I mean? It's something that I'm able to get my emotion out in and be creative again.
I like it. And you've been doing this for about a year now.
Music stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, like seriously, like actually doing it as a hobby and putting like some money into it. Yeah, probably like 6 months, 8 months.
Awesome. And where can people find you if they want to check out some music videos, some videos of you, Instagram, anything like
Yeah,
that?
go to my Instagram. It's one slight and then underscore, and I have some stuff on there. And yeah, for now, that's where it'll be for now. If it gets any better, then maybe I'll put it somewhere. But if not, I'll just keep making it for fun.
Well, I trust that it will because I know you, and now everybody that sees us knows you and that knows like you're a hard worker. So I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to be successful at that, just like you were in every other step.
I appreciate
it. So I appreciate you coming on here and telling your story and sharing knowledge to the youth. I feel like it's really important to get this out to other players because what is knowledge if you don't share it? It's selfish.
No, I agree. And there was someone there that did it for me, Coach Cabrera. I just want to give him a big shout out, man, because a lot of people might not know him. He's the head coach at Mount Aloysius right now. I met him. He was my AAU coach my last 2 seasons of AAU, and he became when I transferred from Millersville. He was down at a prep school in York, and it closed down. And when I went to LVC, he actually got offered the job there, coincidentally. And so he actually got to be my coach for 2 years. And, he gave me so much information on just the recruiting process. He gave me information on a lot of the stuff that I'm reiterating to you is stuff that he taught me, even he's like my big brother. He's more than like my family. So throughout this game, you're going to meet a lot of guys that you want to find out whether they really have your best interest in mind, but you want to seek advice from guys that also, like yourself, you've been through it. A lot of these people that are listening in here and taking my advice and stuff, you've been through it as well. And I hope a lot of the guys that are listening that know you personally seek you out and try and gain the wisdom that you've gained from all this over the last years of your life. I guess it's been your whole life, basically.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think something that you just said right there is that one coach that you knew from AAU stuck through with your entire life. And you're going to have people through this game. A lot of people are just like, oh, you should play basketball. But the connections you can make and the connections that you put in friendships that you build are like no other in this world to me.
No. Yeah, it's you can make awesome relationships through basketball. And it'll teach you a lot about handling relationships because, the minute that you're on the court with your buddy and he misses the bounce pass to win the game,
yeah.
After that, or you know what I mean, it teaches you a lot of dealing with people and teams around you. So, yeah, it's definitely a great teacher.
All right, thank you, Sam, for coming on with us today. Everybody, this is Sam Light. You can follow him at tell him for him again. One slight.
One slight underscore.
All right. So thank you, Sam. I know big things are coming for you. Keep grinding. All right.